Hi, I'm Carly of Gnarly Gaming, and I'm excited to finally be back couchside to geek out about games some more. I've been gone about a month and a half, and the reason for that is kind of twofold. The first of which is conventions. I went to the Asian Board Game Festival in Singapore back in November, and then immediately flew to Philadelphia in order to go to PAX U. And then when I finally made it home a couple weeks later, I basically had 3 weeks to pack and move, which is why I have a new couch now and a whole new backdrop because I'm on a new continent. I moved from Washington, D.C. to the UK, and so I've been spending the better part of the end of December into the new year just settling in and making home for myself. But I'm excited to be back and go through all the usual game geekery. There's a lot of topics I want to cover, but even though it's a little late and it's already towards the end of January, I still really wanted to do a video talking about my gaming experiences of the past year, the ones that really resonated in me, the ones that I'm really excited to share about, and the ones that I just think deserve a whole lot of love. So I'm going to do still my top games that were new to me of 2023. And I say new to me because gaming really, really loves the cult of the new. And when I say that, I mean that people freak out and get frazzled over everything that's the latest and the hottest right now. And some of these games on this list are not 2023 titles. I don't think it's worth doing a video that's just celebrating 2023, because to me, I didn't just play games that came out in 2023 for the first time in 2023. Just as most gamers find games along the way, and old titles that can be new to you can be just as rich of experiences. Because honestly, most titles that are worth a damn, for lack of better words, are ones that have that longevity. And though I've been in the hobby now probably for 8 years, that doesn't mean I've played all of the things that I'd call modern classics. It doesn't mean that I've played every great game that came out 2 decades ago. And so celebrating my joy means celebrating my joy in the moments that it comes to me. And so maybe some of these titles are ones that aren't new to you, but my guess is some of them will be. A lot of them are 2022 titles that just came to me in 2023. But in any case, these were the experiences that stood out to me this past year, and I want to geek out about it a little bit. I'm not going to do a full tier list of like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, none of that nonsense. I'm just going to tell you first the game that was my overall pick of the year, and then I'm just going to break down some other games that I also felt really invigorated by this year that weren't my overall pick, but close, and that kind of capture different categories. So depending on the type of gamer you are or what you're looking for, that maybe some of these will resonate with you. I didn't actually make this list in order to do like categories of games or best of. It just kind of happened that way. I made a list very naturally of the games that stood out to me, and they just happened to fill a lot of gaps because that's the kind of gamer I am. I love a bit of everything. So without further ado, my top gaming experience of 2023, my overall pick of top new to me games, it was hands down Station Fall by Ion Games. And I don't know if you've heard of it. I feel like this game has not gotten nearly enough love, but it is basically deep space chaos, and it was a nemesis killer for me. And I usually don't feel the need to say that. I don't usually feel the need to say that one game has to like beat out another one or those kind of things. But the reason I say that is because I think people who like Nemesis, this game will resonate for, because it is a very action-adventure-y game, very simple in terms of rule set. There's a lot of rules and things you can do, but nothing is too complicated. Essentially, the gist of the game is that we're all aboard this station, and we basically have 13 minutes till station fall. We're all going down. And so you, as a character, will have certain goals and ways that you can score points. Maybe you want to blow the ship up and everyone on it. Maybe you just want to spread contagion. Maybe you are a medic who wants to revitalize people who have died. A very easy way to do that is to put them down first. And so every character has a different thing they want, and a lot of people will have contradictory aims, and you have essentially about, depending on player count, 13 turns to do it. On your turn, you really only have 2 different actions, which can be things like move and use a room's ability. And so it's a very tight game. The things you do really, really matter. But what is cool is you aren't just playing yourself, in the sense that everyone can control everyone that they have influence over. So a lot of the times it's hiding who you are, because while people don't know who you are, they'll know all of the players that are possible in play and each of their objectives. So people can be like, okay, you're moving the engineer down there, which could mean that you just want to like trigger abandoned ship, which opens escape pods. So maybe you want to escape, but you also could be triggering self-destruct on the ship, in which case everyone would blow up, and maybe that's a problem for me. And so reading people's intention and finding ways to use characters in clever ways to get your goal and get the most points in the end is kind of the shtick of it. And there's so many different types of actions that are really delightful. You can also bribe people and threaten people to steal from them. Certain people are fighting over certain objects. Certain people want to get news to Earth, and other people want to prevent it at all costs. And so there's all of this chaos unfolds. And what's really cool is just finding those clever ways to get what you want. I thought one of my friends had a character that just wanted like everyone dead, because they released Project X, which is this big secret on board that can be something as innocuous as another way to escape to Earth, but most often is a terrorist beast of some kind that the space station has been working on as a project, and releasing it like wreak havoc, kills people, all of that jazz. And so in this case, it was a monster and it started killing everyone. So I assumed that my friend Scott had a goal that made him want to kill everybody. But it wasn't true at all. He was just a monkey that had to get at some objects and basically flee. But he thought he was just safe enough to do so, and that no one else, he correctly assumed that all of us were much closer to this monster than he was, and that he could get out. He ended up dead in the process too, and still very much enjoyed the game. Didn't win, I don't think, but it really didn't matter, because the whole game is incredibly cinematic and adventure-filled. Very small action set. You work with what you got, but a lot of it is just pure chaos reigning and trying your best to like squeeze out a little bit of something you want in the process. There's also a really cool thing in the game, whereas let's say I picked a character and instantly my goals are like absolutely fucked. You actually have a backup character. Whenever you start the game, you get 2 characters. One of them you pick to be, and one of them is either like a nemesis or a friend. And if it's a friend, you just want them to kind of be safe at the end and make it back to Earth. And if they're a foe, you want them like down and not make it back to Earth. But what you can do is what they call a Schrodinger reveal, which is basically switch cards. You ditch your original one, just keep your other one, and now you have their goals. So if your things are looking pretty rough, you still have some potential. But anyway, this game, I will say the rule book is a little touchy, but there's some great rules teaches online. It's a lot of rules up front, because when people are having secrets, they don't want to be like, so if I'm this person, what does this mean? Or how would I do this? And so you have to kind of give everyone a huge heap of rules out the gate. But it just builds so wonderfully. There's some nights that we played it like 3 times in a row, and it was just so epic every time, and silly and joyful. And so if you're into an adventure game experience, this is one worth having. It wasn't one that I was able to bring with me. I'm going to do a video, my next video, that's going to capture the games that I brought with me. I only brought 15 games with me, and everyone's been asking me which ones. So I'm going to talk about those choices and how I made them. And this was my top game of 2023 easily, and it didn't make it across Notion with me, because not everything makes sense to ship, and it was already a little damaged, my box. And so, but it's one that I will eagerly replace this year, because I want those experiences back. I want to share that at the table again, and I want to have that laughter, that joy, that like tension with people again. It's so evocative to me, that game, and I just love it. So Hands down, my favorite of this past year. I just played it a ton. I love it a ton. I'm really, really grateful to have had that experience with all of the people I was able to share it with. And so a couple other favorites that I will share just to like flesh out and sum up. My favorite Euro game this past year, which had more of an engine builder, less adventure-y, more of like little bit of engine builder, was Revive. If you've not played it, it has a loose theme of all of us being underground and coming up and now exploring and populating cities and building structures and all of those things. Some core things drive you. Those are kind of the three things that'll give you points. But it has an incredibly well done resource acquisition system. I really love how the actions flow together and how different objectives each game drive you. And so that one to me was beautiful. Got to play the expansion once, but I'm excited to play it and the expansion all over again. That was a game I did bring with me. Love it, love it, love it so, so much. As far as lighter games, like family game side, I really enjoyed Three Ring Circus. And this one is surprising to me because I'm not usually an area control person, but it has a bit of area control and a bit of tableau building. But essentially, you're going around and you're hosting circuses in different towns. And the smaller towns will give you newer acts and ways to build up your circus. The medium shows and the bigger shows will give you ways to like score points. And a lot of it depends on the acts you build up. You'll need to have certain ones in the big showcase circus that are definitely in one of your rings. And the way you build out your rings is really, really satisfying. I'm definitely not doing a good job explaining all of it, but if you're looking for very much an easy access for new gamers or even like a family weight game, something very light and lovely to bring people into, it has like a good bite of strategic depth for even an old gamer while being really, really accessible. And so I adored that one. Another one I'll have to get for this collection. And then lastly, a couple of oddball favorites from this past year. One of them is something to look out for in 2024 because it was a new to me experience in 2023, but won't be available till next year, which is Kelp, which is an adorable 2-player octopus versus shark, basically deck builder versus bag builder. And it's a game designed for 2. It is absolutely stunning. The people who make it are lovely, and it's just been like a soft little 2-player favorite for me this past year. I got to try it basically S and onwards, and it's been a really big joy. And my last one is an older callback, a new to me game that's not new to many people, but Great Western Trail, which is basically just cattle ranching and building up like structures on a board. And it's such a simple little game, and it's a modern classic, and the world does not need me to glow about it because it's already well known how wonderful it is. But it was taught to me this year and is another one of those that like really shined. I just want to play it all the dang time. You could convince me today to play it if you wanted to. And so those to me were my easy picks. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, actually, very importantly, top campaign this past year, which surprised even me. Heading into 2023, I thought I was going to be all about Frosthaven. I had my videos when I first started playing it. I played it a little bit the year before, but I was going to be finishing up Frosthaven in 2023. And to me, Frosthaven was great. But to me so far, and I'm not quite done, Oathsworn, which is another boss battle-y card-based system campaign game, outshined Frosthaven quite a bit. And part of it is that I'm playing it right now, so it's definitely a little fresher in my body and mind. But really what makes the big difference to me is that game has such a well-done story system. So while Gloomhaven, you read some text and you have city events and things like that before you go into your next encounter of sorts, in Oathsworn, you have like a whole section that's about an hour to an hour and a half of just story mode with much better writing, a lot more intrigue, choices that matter and affect the encounter, the battle that you will have. And I just I've been really smitten with it. I really like the card management system. It's not just Gloomhaven with a story. It has its own card management system, also very satisfying. I like the way our party is built up together. There's things that make me feel like my choices are bigger than just a light plot carrying through. And don't get me wrong, I'm a Gloomhaven, Frosthaven fangirl, but by far, Oathsworn has captivated me as far as campaigns go this past year. So that's kind of my top list. We have Stationfall as my overall pick, Revive, as well as Three Ring Circus, Kelp, Great Western Trail, and then Oathsworn as my campaign pick. So that was kind of 6. I said top 5, but we'll do asterisk 6 in there since Kelp isn't technically coming out till 2024. And yeah, that's kind of my year in a nutshell of a lot of the things that brought me joy. I've probably played over 300 games this year, though. Arc Nova is still something that is close to home. Play it constantly. I could even throw it on that list if I wanted to. It's just not new to me anymore. But there's been so many games that have captivated us and brought us joy. But to me, those were the standout picks of the things that really set my heart on fire. So that is it for me this week. As I said before, next week I'm going to cover the 15 games that I brought with me across the ocean, how that experience went shipping things across the ocean, how I would decide what games to whittle out in a collection like that. I've gotten a whole lot of questions about those things, and so I'm going to talk about resetting up life and game world here. But until then, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Thank you for your patience with me as I was sorting all sorts of life nonsense. I appreciate you. I'm really, really happy to be back and cozy and here. And I will see you all for the next video. Bye.